a very different science fiction novel. An idea I have actually not read before. It is original and, even more astonishing, combines some sound speculation with good writing and effective storytelling, according to fantasy and science fiction. This has something rare, a very new and original wild talent. Furthermore, there are no wild heroics or last-minute humanity savings. The hero does achieve a minor triumph, or is it the biggest triumph ever, but is throughout a believable character. The author has, in addition, tried to show us a wholesome future world with some ingenuity, and has a soundly constructed plot underlying the whole. This is an excellent book. Recommended. According to speculation. A gentle, charming, and funny work of fiction. According to Saturday Review. So, I want to talk about an old friend of mine, Annie Akers, in part to address the wild talk that has been swirling around town. I've known Annie for many years, from days gone by, when she and I would sit at carols nearby to each other at the Greenwood College Library. She was reading the latest astronomy journals with their pictures of nebulae and depictions of cosmic waves, while I pursued my own studies early in my career as a professor. She was older than me, motherly toward me, and as we got to know each other, she'd often bring me treats, like crescent rolls and cookies, so I wouldn't look so gaunt, as she so often said. Nowadays, she doesn't get out much. She sits alone in her kitchen or putters around the kitchen, fixing tea and baking. She's almost always baking, even in the summer, so much so that I've wondered where it all goes. She listens to the radio while she's in the kitchen, and I suspect it's some weird AM channel, although she's quick to turn the radio off when I come to visit, so I don't really know. One time, when she didn't answer the front door and I became worried about her, I walked around to the back door, which opens on her kitchen. It was summer, so her windows were open and I could hear voices, Annie's and at least one or two others. I thought Annie had guests, which surprised me, and I prepared to introduce myself. I could hear Annie was talking to a child. It sounded like a boy, and she was scolding him for something he had done, and he answered remorsefully. When I climbed the back steps, though, and I knocked on her door, I couldn't hear the voices any longer. I tried to peek inside through the lace of her curtains, but I only saw Annie's shape coming away from the corner where she keeps the radio, as if she had just turned it off. When I asked her about the voices, she said something about how she liked to argue with the people on the radio. It was just natural, she said, to talk back to the radio, and what was the harm in giving voice to her own opinions? Sometimes, she said, it even seemed to her she had a regular conversation going. It was almost like there were people come to visit. She trailed off. I thought she had been about to say more, but had thought better of it, so I didn't press her. The reason I'm talking about Annie today is because she is gone, and when she left, wherever she might have gone, she forgot to turn off her radio. We're not sure when Annie left or how. We suspect that she left 3 nights ago, because that's when the boys were first seen, flying through the night sky over the Stardust, which is our mall, late at night, right after the last movie of the night, as a handful of movie watchers were walking to their cars. And let me be clear before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm not really sure boy is the correct appellation. They seem androgynous to me and childlike, but there is something about their voices that makes one think they might be boys, lost boys of a sort, except it would be more apt to call them found boys, and I think it was Annie who found them, somewhere on the AM dial. Between the religious rants and relentless fear and loathing of the talk shows, there were these boys, at first probably just some voices, waiting to be heard. Annie's not around to explain exactly how she found them, but I suspect she was just spinning the dial slowly, listening for channels to catch, as one did in the old days, and she probably heard something, a quiet voice calling out, and maybe another answering.
Hello? Hello? Quit calling. No one's ever going to answer.
But Annie did. Or maybe it happened differently. Maybe Annie was talking to her radio as she said she liked to do, and maybe she talked so much for so long that finally someone heard her. I can imagine an electrical storm at night, the radio cutting in and out as lightning flashed outside, thunder muffling the talk show host, until finally, after one stupendous crash, suddenly the boys were there. How long ago she met the boys, no one knows. I personally suspect it's been a long time. How they crossed over, so to speak, is another area of speculation. They like cookies and cakes and other treats. We know that because of what they did at Carlson's Bakery 2 nights ago. So they must be physical in some sense, but they can also dematerialize to pass through walls, and they can run along electrical lines like beings of light or electricity, and of course they can fly. They can also disappear entirely, and when they do that, I think they go very, very far away. It seems like the only way to close the door, so to speak, is to turn the radio off. But then there's a problem. What if that's where Annie has gone? Or what if the boys put Annie there? We've tried to question the boys, but they aren't very agreeable. They say they want to play. They never say anything else.
I want to play. I want to play. I want to play.
They sound spoiled. They ask for cookies, and when they don't get them, they spark people. That's right. I've been sparked myself for insisting they tell me if they know where Annie is. One of the boys said,
"We don't like you, Mr. Man."
And then he touched me with his pointer finger, and it felt for a moment like my eyes were going to pop out of my head. We don't know what to do. Most people argue that we should just turn off the radio, but I don't know. What would you do?